has begun. All right, good evening, everybody. It's such a great pleasure to have each and every one of you joining us today. Today, we are having our Unlocking Opportunity, your launchpad into Cybersecurity GRC. And it's going to be presented by yours truly, Kessington Ekayeme. I come to you with multiple years, over 20 years of technical experience, as well as cybersecurity experience. And all of that experience is what I've put together to have other people become like me or even better than me in the field. I've worked within the ISP space. I've worked within the bank. I've worked within retail, and I've worked with a little bit of government. But all through my years of working, I have learned one or two things that I know is going to be beneficial for anyone who is interested in the cybersecurity space. My background originally is from the technical side of cybersecurity, and then I transitioned into GRC. And as we go along in the course, you would see why that is. GRC is one of the most promising places you could find yourself within the cybersecurity space. So the landscape is very, very attractive. Let's begin with that. The landscape is very, very attractive within cybersecurity, especially in governance, risk, and compliance, which is GRC. So if you are familiar with the term reverse engineering, that's pretty much what I'll be bringing to the table today to let us know of the field that is already working, the place where success has already been recorded, the place where the jobs are. So working your way backward from there is what I did many years ago, and I've never regretted it. There's availability, there's the need, people are looking for positions to fill, they are not getting people who know how to do the job. So we're starting from there, from the demand, and then you work your way back to how can I have that thing that they are asking for based on the demand that I'm seeing. And I will show you a little bit of that as we go along. So today is not just another webinar. Today is a turning point. I like each and every one of us to see it as a turning point. Cybersecurity GRC is exploding and it's in demand. And companies are desperately searching for people who can help them stay compliant, people who can help them stay secure, and people who can help them stay audit ready. Should they be audited as a business? You don't want to have an F for your audits. That's bad for business. And there are industries that are looking for professionals who can satisfy these needs for them. Hence the reason why there's a lot of availability. There's a lot of opportunity within the cybersecurity space for GRC. So you have businesses in the finance sector, finance and banking. You have businesses in the healthcare and insurance sector. You have people in government, and in defense. You also have people within the tech space. So your technical businesses that are, heavy on tech, businesses who are heavy on the reliant on cloud services. The same thing with energy and utility. So your water company, your power company, your gas company, there's a lot of requirements needed by governments, that is on those businesses, and they require professionals who can help them win the day, professionals who can help them stay compliant. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so there are transferable skills, because I do understand a lot of us do not have a cybersecurity background or a technical background. For GRC, you don't need any of that kind of background. You don't need to be technical. You just need to know how to communicate, right? So GRC values communication. It values documentation. It values the way you think, your process thinking, and your risk awareness. So there is something GRC does to someone. It gives you a bird's eye visibility into how businesses work. It gives you that visibility into what matters. It makes you understand why the business is doing things a certain way. Okay, so businesses, people might be wondering sometimes, why is my employer asking this question? Why is my employer making me sign? Why is my employer behaving a particular way? Why do we have a certain type of company culture? All of these is coming down from what GRC has been handed over to do. So maybe from governments, maybe from the industry, maybe even from the community where the business does business, you know, the area where the company does business. But something is coming from the outside that's influencing while the business is doing what they are doing. All right. So do not worry, do not fret. No matter your background, there's a space for you within GRC. I took a time out to do some survey before this webinar. I've spoken to quite a few people way back in the past who came in and were able to land jobs within the space. We also asked questions of people who were joining this exact webinar. We've been doing some survey in the back end. And I can tell you categorically, if you have experience as a correction officer, you're working in the prisons, you know, I thought to bring up some of these things to make you know you have a space within GRC. So for correction officer, I'm very sure you're already familiar with how policy is enforced based on how you do your job. You are very familiar with how you report incidents. You are very familiar with the third chain of custody. Those are the things you can transfer into a GRC career, okay? If you're a project manager, you're familiar with governance. You are familiar with stakeholder alignment, so the people who are important for the project that is at hand, you are familiar with how you can align them to the project so you don't miss your deadline, so you can stay on task. You're also familiar with risk mitigation, how you manage risk, how you mitigate all kinds of risks, because risk is not something you can do without. Risk is ever present. The only time risk will not be present is if the business dies or if the person dies, but that's not what we want, right? We want to always be living. So those are transferable skills. If you are already a technical person, like I told you earlier, my background is from I worked in the Security Operations Center where I configured firewalls, where I configured IDS, IDP, ethical hacking. That was my background, right? But life is so much easier now within the GRC space. You don't have to do technical stuff. But if you're coming from that background, you are familiar with alert triaging, which is nothing more than how you address an alert, how you work it, how you get the right tools to get it done, to get your investigation done and completed. You're familiar with incident documentation, where you document your analysis and the things that happen during the time of the event. You're also familiar with control validation, when there is a solution or something to prevent a bad thing from happening. You know, you are already familiar with how you can do the validation of those controls. Also, if you are from the tech support background, maybe technical support, call center kind of job, you're familiar with access control. You're familiar with change management. You're familiar with system documentation. So there's a space for you. So people think about GRC many a times, about cybersecurity like it's rocket science. It is not. I have a lot of background in non-technical roles before I became technical. And I can tell you for a fact, GRC is sweet. GRC is fulfilling, and it's where you want to be. There's none of you, so long as you can communicate, so long as you can put your thoughts together and you're comfortable speaking about what you know, then there's a space for you within GRC. Okay, now what GRC professionals actually do? What do GRC professionals actually do? So GRC roles, they focus on ensuring, I mentioned it earlier, but we're going to talk about it again. They ensure organizations follow security policies. They ensure the organizations manage their risk. They help them comply with regulations. And you won't need to code within GRC. Again, you don't need, it's not anything technical, it's not rocket science, it's just you understanding process, okay? But you will need to think critically, you write clearly, and you communicate across departments. A lot of people would come to you within the GRC space, you will communicate to a lot of businesses, a lot of business units within your company. You will do that a lot. So that's one thing you need to know about GRC. So if you enjoy talking to people, this is the role for you. This is the job for you. All right. So there are common titles you would find. Now, cybersecurity, I don't want to say it's bad, but there's something unique within cybersecurity in terms of role definitions. So you will find people who are in technical roles and those who are in GRC and those who are even in the supporting roles bearing the same title. All right. So you see them bearing names like GRC risk analysts, GRC analysts, compliance specialists, third-party risk analysts, security awareness coordinator, private analyst, audit and compliance associate. Those names are common across the board. So you would get it for people who are technical and those who are not technical. Now, the difference would be in the job description. Many of the times when you apply for a job, you would find that in the description, call it the fine print, if you will. You read through it, you would know right away if this is the GRC role or not. All right. And by the way, GRC, in case you missed it before I mentioned it, GRC means governance, risk, and compliance. Okay. And these are three different things. Every company is different. Let me deviate a little bit. Every company is different. Some companies have GRC as one department. Some companies have GRC in separate departments, right? So you have governance separate, you have risk separate, you have compliance separate. But the idea is they always work together. So what we're doing here is prepping your mind as to what GRC is and for you to easily see where you fit in within the cybersecurity space for GRC. All right, and the opportunity is massive. Again, I mentioned earlier the act of reverse engineering. That's the kind of person I am. I would always go from, 1 second, please. Okay, I would always go from what I see is working to to how I can get it done, right? So a very quick example, many years ago, we know the Chinese do not manufacture cars. The Indians do not manufacture cars, right? But as as time went on, they began to develop their economy. They began to see the light, if you will. And then they would buy a vehicle from America, from Europe, and then they would pieces it. The vehicle works. They know this vehicle works. They like it. They would pieces the vehicle, and then they will start to make the parts one after the other. Now, mind you, the original inventor of this vehicle, the original inventor of the electricity lights, they took a long time. They got it wrong multiple times before they got it right. The same thing with the vehicle. It took them a long time to get the vehicle right. Now, if you do reverse engineering, you can actually see a working vehicle and you can pieces it. You can see this is the motor, this is the engine, this is the tire. You can make them separately, and it takes you a faster time to get a car that is ready for the road and that is roadworthy. So the original inventor, it might have taken them maybe 20 years to get a vehicle. The concept, from concept to putting it together in a factory to making it ready to testing it. But if you do reverse engineering, if you put the right resource in, it could take you maybe a year or two or even less. So we are telling you now, the opportunity is massive in the space. And then we are doing reverse engineering, giving you what you need to be triumphant within the cybersecurity space for GRC. So the opportunity is massive. And you can see here, cybersecurity job growth is projected at 32% through 2030, 6 years from now. And I can bet you the number will keep on increasing over and over again. And this data is not from me. This is from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. It says over 750,000 on-field cybersecurity roles is in the US alone. Not Canada, but in the US alone. If you were to add that of Canada, most definitely you'll be going into over 1 million, right? So GRC roles are among the fastest growing because companies face increasing regulations. They face audits, the fear of being audited and them wanting to be right by their customers. and there are risks associated with the jobs that they do, right? With the services that they're rendering. So they have that need for GRC rules. So GRC is like the bridge. See yourself as the bridge between the business and security. We know security is important, right? But many a times the business is more important because the business is in the business of business to make money, right? So GRC is that bridge. Yes, with the business is there for business, but at the same time, there has to be security. You have to be security conscious. That is why the GRC side makes a lot of meaning. So it makes it ideal for people with communication and analysis skills, people who can solve problems, problem solving, thinking skills. Those are the people that will triumph within the space. All right. So if you are with your computer or with your notes, just go to cybersec.org after this webinar. Cybersec.org gives you this data you are seeing right here on the screen. You can see, depending on the state that you are in, you can see the demand for cybersecurity rules within your area. That would kind of give you an idea of what is possible within your area. And then, like I said, do your reverse engineering with the information you're going to be gathering here today in this webinar to make you triumphant. All right. So how the skills gap are addressed. So there are skills gap, like we mentioned earlier. It will interest you to know that there are several ways employers fill in those positions. There are several ways. These are some of the ones that are most obvious. 76%. They have their own employees upskill, by giving them courses, paying for their courses, encouraging them to learn something that would make them transition to that role. That is where you will find most employers, investing their money into to build an in-house team that is already there doing something else, maybe in a different department, right? You also have 54% is going to be recruitments. Recruitments within using recruitment agencies, the popular recruitment agencies, maybe like the ADTs, maybe like the Tech Systems, maybe like the Experis. They would use them to fill in those positions, right? 54%. And then you have 24% where they expect employees to independently upskill themselves. All right, they expect you to learn on your own. But no employer wants to get someone who is not learning something new, right? They want you to upskill yourself. And I hope that all of us who are in this webinar today have this understanding. Your employer would value you more if you upskill yourself. If you even have a new employer and you show them your resume of the trainings you've done, of the efforts you've made to do well within that space, they always look at it favorably. So I wouldn't go over the other ones, but all of these will be available to you at the end of this webinar. These are the major ways. These ones we just highlighted. These are the main ways employers hire. All right, so you want to be thinking in that direction on how you want to do. So if you are working for, let's say, United Airlines, you want to make sure you are taking advantage of these things so you can move on to the next level in your career. So why GRC is the fastest entry point? It is the fastest, obviously, like we mentioned earlier, the demand is there. The demand is very high. All right. And then, of course, there's no coding that's required. You don't need any IT experience or cybersecurity experience that is technical. One advantage I will tell you most, because I keep hearing from people a lot these days, how AI has taken their jobs, right? With GRC, it's AI resistance, all right? It's AI resistant. And the main reason is because you need that physical presence. You need that real time, that human touch to it, right? So there are no prior IT experience that's needed. It's highly reliant on human judgment and communication. And then you have that decision making that is on the fly. Any wrong decision can take the business back decades. It can take the business out of business, right? And you don't want that. So a human is always at the helm to make sure they're doing the right thing. So your job, you don't have any worry about AI, at least not for now. Maybe in the next 10 years, they might find a perfect AI that is a human being that can talk, that can dance, that can do all kinds of stuff, but we're not there just yet. And even if it's there, you still need a man to man it. Somebody has to man it to make sure it's working right, all right? So GRC roles are AI resistant. They are contextual in thinking, like you have to be thinking contextually. Contextually, meaning every situation is different and you have to put a personal kind of twist to it that makes you responsible of whatever you're doing, all right? And it is by regulations as well. Many of the frameworks require a person, all right? So human interaction is there, negotiation is there, policy interpretation, risk-based decision-making. That risk, like I mentioned earlier, if you make the wrong risk, if you calculate the wrong risk and you arrive at the wrong decision, for the business, that could take the business out of business. We don't want that. All right. So just to give you a little bit of taste to let you know, and you could also check it out after this webinar. You can go to your LinkedIn page, your LinkedIn job posting pages. You can go to Indeed. You can go to DICE. There are several of them that are out there. Just do a search. For instance, like what I have on here on the screen, GRC analyst, and you will find a lot of jobs that are out there, waiting for the taking. This is just GRC analyst. You can do risk analyst. You can do control analyst. You can do governance. You can do third-party control analyst, third-party analyst, 3 TPM analysts, all kinds of stuff, and you will find lots of opportunities there. Once you get to those jobs, you want to look at the job description. After a while, you begin to understand which one is GRC and which one is technical. Okay, so what are the salary and job flexibility within GRC space? Just to give you an idea, I'm a reverse engineering person. Sorry, I've mentioned this over and over. I always like to see what the end result is, and then I can walk my way back and start somewhere to get there. It makes it faster for me, and it has never failed me. For all my students, those who have taught in the past, that's been something I've always been a champion of, and it's never failed me. All right. So salary and job flexibility. You have the entry-level jobs for 72,000 to 95,000. That is an entry level without experience. You have people who are coming in with mid-level experience, non-managerial, $105,000 to $135,000. That is good. That is really, really, really good, if you ask me. And then senior level, of course, 150 to 200. So you're talking about people who are almost a lead, or those who are leads, who are about to becoming managers. So those are the offers that you will typically get from GRC positions. So 60% of GRC jobs, they offer that hybrid or fully remote options, where you get to work maybe half the time on site, half the time from home. And then, a good chunk of that, maybe 20-30% of that, usually is full remote, where you don't have to come to the office. Maybe they might need you maybe once a year or something like that. All right. So this is just for us to know. Again, I'm a fan of reverse engineering. Again, there are real stories here of people who have succeeded within this space. All right. GRC is filled with people who once worked in healthcare. Just to let you know how beautiful it is. People who have once worked in healthcare, people who have worked in finance, retail, education, logistics like Amazon, FedEx, UPS, but mostly Amazon, because Amazon does one great thing that I've heard from some of my past students. They give you an opportunity to actually learn GRC. It's not like the applied learning, but it gives you an opportunity to have an idea of what it is, and they help you really look for jobs and stuff like that. They encourage you to do better, right? So people come from logistics. We have a lot of them that I've worked with in the past. I have a lot of them that I've trained in the past, all right? And then hospitality, those who work in hotels, restaurants and stuff like that. So there's always something for you within GRC. And many immigrants, by the way, there are lots of immigrants who need a stable and respected high-earning career. Many are parents who need that remote flexibility, even if it's not 100% remote, they love that flexibility. And again, if you work with your manager, many a times they will like to even have more remote days than what is expected, in case it's a hybrid job that you get when you hunt for these opportunities. So many also are new graduates. Those ones, they don't even need to try any other field as they are graduating. They are coming on board right away, especially when they have the knowledge of what is going on within GRC, and then they apply it, they get opportunity right away. All right. So why do people struggle to break into cybersecurity in GRC? Why do people struggle to break in? People struggling, many a times they go online, they ask questions from people whom they see physically, and then they ask questions, right? And then they get responses, but those answers are not coming in one place. You are getting them in a scattered way, right? So too many scattered resources, no real world examples, because they are not really getting, they're just learning it in theory, right? And they don't have anybody who is there to guide them or mentor them through the learning process. And that is very, very key. That is very, very key in this space. Also, when you have no hands-on practice, you don't have the time to get your hands dirty. I, for one, I like to learn by getting my hands dirty, so I can remember it, and I can be a master at what I do. And if something were to break halfway, I would know how to fix it. I would know how to go back and get it done, so I'm not stuck like the deer that the headlights in the night hit. They get confused and then they can't run into them. All right, so that's not going to be us. All right, so no understanding of the real company in GRC work. That's what a lot of people face. They don't have that real understanding. They learn it in theory. They don't know what it is like in the real world. All right. So, and again, like I was mentioning earlier, my years of experience, I have seen a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things. I've paid for a lot of things. I've subscribed to a lot of things. And now I'm using reverse engineering to come back to carry people a lot easier. It might have taken maybe 5 years to start in the field of cybersecurity, but I want for you to take you less than 2 months. If you are determined, if you're interested, that is the promise I'm putting on the table. If you work very, very hard, you can speak the language, you can know what you need to do within the space, and then you can break it, you can break successfully. All right. So Kenema Cybersecurity, which I'm the facilitator, Kenema Cyber Institute, we have a solution called the Applied GRC course. This course, it took us years to put this together. Like I said, this course was built for people like you, people who want a clear, guided, real-world path into cybersecurity and GRC. Now, what will you get? Again, reverse engineering kind of person. What do you get? You get a real-world GRC scenarios. Real-world. This is not fiction. You get real-world. You get hands-on assignments. Hands-on. You get risk assessments. You would walk through an audit work, and then you will be exposed to frameworks such as your NIST cybersecurity framework, your ISO 27001. You will get a resume that is ready for you to put your details that will be ATS resistant, and then you will have the opportunity to know what to do to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Those are very, very, very important. You will have that interview prep, your portfolio, will help you in portfolio building, and you will have direct mentorship. Again, while you are taking this course, you will be belonging to a cohort that you will be learning together. You have people you can bounce questions off, people you can talk with, answer, question and answer. And then, of course, you have me as a facilitator. I'll be part of each and every cohort. Any questions your cohorts can answer, or if you still need my input, most definitely you have my direct line. You would reach out to me, and then there's nothing that would hold you back from succeeding. This works. it works. I've had quite a few students who've gone through this, and I know it works. And I want each and every one of you to know that the opportunities here, this reverse engineering works. All right. Okay. So once you get on the course, this is what it's going to look like. Something like this. You know, it's very, you know, the environment you would get into, the graphics will be encouraging. The quality of the media work is awesome. You will get to understand GRC from the beginning. You will get to understand and speak the language. Many times when you go for job interviews, when you go for, you're having conversations even with your colleagues at work who work in that space. After this course, you will speak the language and people will be amazed at what you're doing. Because I can tell you for a fact, if you go to France, for instance, for those of us who are those who are French speakers, there's no way you can communicate very, very well and independently unless you speak the language, you speak the French language. This course will teach you the language. It will teach you what you need to know, what matters the most, what your colleagues at work and those in the space should you be getting interviews, the language they speak. Once you use those language, they see you as one of them. All right. So like I said earlier, we had people who's come through the course who've done well. This is just some of the testimonials of students who came through. Like this particular person, Oluwaseye, he works for the United Postal Service, the USPS. He rose from being a supervisor. I believe they were doing like docking where they like offload and load or whatever, but he no longer does that anymore. He's now within the company where they handle GRC for USPS. That person comes to mind because I knew him from way back many years ago. And I told him about this and he jumped on and he never looked back. Okay. All right. So for this GRC course, because again, our main mission here is really, really not to make it difficult for people. In the past, when this started, I used to do one-on-one with people because of the time and the it not being possible for me to be in one place, being more than one place at one time. I had to charge $3,000. That's what we used to charge back then. So it would be like a class of maybe 2 students, 3 students would do that for like 2 months, 3 months. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of resources that was needed. So because of the demand from people and the hits we've been having the positive results, we decided to change the formula to what we're doing now. And we started this formula last month. And we've already started recording successes as well. So the program, this course is $499. But because of what we have going on right now, in terms of this webinar, we want to encourage these cohorts, these people who are ready now. We are giving a 10% discount, which is bringing it to $449. All right. And this offer is going to be valid for just a very limited amount of time, the next 24 hours, really. And then it's going to go back to the $499. And for me, the way I'm looking at it, by the middle of the year, at some point, it's going to go even much higher. But we are doing this to build our cohorts. We are building our cohort, building our community, and making ourselves known out there so we can build a community of professionals within GRC. That gives me joy. I've always been that kind of person from time immemorial. Train people, make them do well. When they do well, I do well. All right. So that is the plan. That is the plan. So we want you to take opportunity. The GRC resume template again is going to be there. Your interview question banks is going to be there at the end of your learning. You're going to be exposed to frameworks. You're going to have access to our community. And that community is one that you're going to have for life. You have access to me. You have access to other cohort members, those who will be in the field, starting the journey with you and record that success together. All right. So the future starts now. The ball is now in your court. Do with it, what you need to take advantage of this opportunity. And I know, no matter the field that you are in, no matter what you're doing right now, having this knowledge within this GRC applied that we are offering you would make you better. I've received testimonies upon testimonies of people who have done this and they see the world differently now. They see their job space, their employer differently. their perspective has been positively altered for life, and they can see the benefits right off the bat. Okay, so it will be now time for Q&A. But before that, I want to encourage you, that if you have any questions for me, you are definitely free to ask them here. But if you are most comfortable, we would provide you an option also where you can book a one-on-one session and then you can speak with me. So now it's time for Q&A. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to let you ask the questions.
I have a question, boss.
Yes, go ahead. Please tell us your name.
My name is Emmanuel. I'm based in Canada, here in Ontario. I just graduated 3 months ago from Trias College, where I took a course on cybersecurity. So I've been I've been throwing my resume everywhere and getting that unfortunate, we've moved on, all that kind of language, unfortunate. So, and I keep, network with my classmates, say, hey guys, have you gotten a job yet? Nobody says they've gotten a job and all that. So it's always, I've been throwing my CVs around, and most jobs that I've been seeing are mostly based in the States, So, and then, Canadian, as a Canadian and trying to work in the States, there are a lot of hassles around it, a lot of documentations and all this. It's not like a bed of roses. So I'm wondering, so when I came across your institute online and all that ad, I said, okay, because I'm trying to move away from technical side of cybersec. It looks as if it's saturated. Everybody wants to be a network. What we call it, cybersecurity analyst. And all that. So I discovered that GRC to me became more appealing. So I want to tour this GRC path. So I want to ask, my question is, how is this class administered? Currently, I'm working with a company where I just work as a logistic coordinator. Not really what I wanted, what I'm looking for. The pay is not that great, but that was why I went back to school to study cybersec to see if I can, up my game higher and higher, So 6 figure is the end goal. So yeah. So how does this class administer? Because I just came out from work, I do 8 to 4. So how do I fit in as an 8 to 4 guy in this program? And how long is this class? And what is the benefit after this? Do we have a certification for that afterward, like certified that you've attended these institutions? And how do we put all those things in the resume that can be able to get us, get myself on the door? Thank you. That's my question.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emmanuel. That's a very, very wonderful question. And that's a real life question. You see, our approach to this is the one of real life. Like we put our hearts to bringing this Applied GRC because we know what people are actually feeling, the experience out there. I've been out there looking for jobs before, like many years ago. I've done different things. And then, like I said earlier, the reverse engineering is what worked for me. All right. So I would say this. First of all, you're in Canada. Canada, obviously, they have jobs within, technical side of cybersecurity as well as non-technical side of cybersecurity, just like in the US. All right. So now there are companies, I know I've seen some of those that I've seen on job sites where even though the job is in Canada, they give you the opportunity to work from the United States and vice versa. I've seen those, but they are in the minority. Excuse me, they are in the minority, okay? So the majority of the jobs you will find will be those that are available to you in Canada. That is not to say you're not going to be looking for other jobs within that are located in the US. You're still going to find them. I've even had jobs that you will be working here. They are in Europe. I've seen those being reported to me. So it's not impossible. But I want to be straight with you. Most of the jobs you would find will be the ones that are in Canada. And GRC has more positions. They have more roles within cybersecurity than the technical side of cybersecurity. And it is less hassle. It's less stressful. you have more work-life balance. That's, work-life balance, with GRC. Again, GRC is not just GRC. Again, like I mentioned, there is governance, there is risk, there is compliance. That is like three different sides, three different parts within GRC that stands on their own. Now, for many companies that I've seen, they have them separated. That separated, that gives you that flexibility of spreading your net to even getting more of those jobs. Now, some companies will put them together and they will hire more people within one umbrella. That's all fine and good. But what remains true, no matter what the company practices, is that the availability is plenty. You could just apply for only controls, for instance, controls job. There are jobs for controls. And you can also have jobs that are just there for third-party management, meaning the vendors, the business does business with, you managing, the risk coming from that side, making sure that they are compliant, making sure they have good security practices. That's another angle. You could just work for only governance, which is you managing the company culture, which is you getting information from the outside, from government. What does government want? And then you translate that into policies that you would create for the business. Maybe not you, but you'll be in the team that creates that document. So there are all kinds of opportunities. All right. So you are not thinking wrong. Your mind is in the right place. You want an opportunity to put everything in one structure, which is one of the things that we are offering as well. You can get information that they will be scattered all over the place. What this course does is it puts it together. It brings all that years of experience that I've gone through, all the things that are practical within the space. It brings it together. Now, the model in which it is offered, it's no longer live. I used to do live many years ago, but now it is now at your own pace. It's recorded, it's structured. You have the assignments, you have, your applied side of the things where you would do the work. And if you have questions, you bring them up. And that, by the way, is experience you are building right there. So it gives you that opportunity. Management system is robust enough to take your work and be able to give you feedback at every step of the way. So you can do that. Some people, for me personally, within 2 weeks, you can get done if you dedicate, let's say, 5 hours a day. But we don't want to rush people. So if you take it maybe 2 hours a day, every day, maybe Mondays to Fridays, you have the weekends to yourself. Before a month, you should be almost wrapping up. And then maybe you might be at your at the stage of doing your capstone project, because we have a capstone project at the end that puts everything you've learned together. So for each module, you have an applied side where you get to do the work, right? And then at the end, you have the capstone opportunity where everything comes together. That is like you building it from scratch, all right? And then you belong to a community. Like, for instance, we've shown you, what's going on within GRC, we discuss, and then maybe we see something that we know you can benefit from or anybody can benefit from, we'll throw it up in there. Because you are part of the community, you will always get those updates, insider updates, if you will. You would always get it. You would always get it. You don't need to pay anything. You're already a member. You're already part of the community, and you'll be getting those updates. Those are the benefits you're gonna get. Now, you mentioned some other things. I don't know if I answered all of them. If you could remind me real quick, Emmanuel.
I would like to say something, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, I would like to say something. Mr. Emmanuel, my name is Dr. Tina. I'm one of the reviewer of this course, and I believe that what I'm going to say will answer your questions. I don't know if Mr. Kensington had mentioned in his speech, because I really joined in late. This course took him over a year to put together. The way he was doing it before, he was doing it, one-on-one live class, and it was strictly cybersecurity, and then he transitioned to GRC. Like you said, it looks like cybersecurity role is more saturated, and they are looking for technical skills, experience, and that is the difference with GRC. Now, in GRC, right, there is the capstone capstone project that Mr. Kess has just mentioned that is going to give you, hands-on experience, and you are able to speak the language, the terminology, right? I reviewed the course before we actually, put it out there on sale. And that was because we wanted to do like a round, just to test run the course and also the job. And as a matter of fact, I did not finish the course before I put the resume together just to test run the market, see how the market is. And then I got a recruiter had reached out to me, right? I didn't finish the course. I was just trying to test run the market to see how the market is. I put my resume together, and I think it was that week. Mr. Kesamara, was it that week or the next week after my resume?
It was the next week.
It was the
Yeah.
next week. The recruiter reached out, and I went through the interview. That is to test run to see how the market is. Now, those that are starting now that they are going to be beneficiaries, because the way it is as it's going, people will start telling people, and our people love seeing is believing. They'll start telling people, will start coming in, and before you know it, again to get saturated. That's how this market is. So I just wanted to explain to you, and I hope this also answer your question, right?
Thank you, Dr. Tina.
Thank you.
And yeah, Mr. Emmanuel, did everything get addressed? I know you asked a lot of questions. I want to make sure nothing is missing before we go to Lasana.
Yes. You answered it, because my concern is the how the cost is administered. So you said it's recorded. So basically, if I come back from work, I can get on it. Listen to it. I would say attend. I would want to attend classes because they're already recorded. Attend the classes and do whatever assignments is there and all that. And there's a channel for my uh inquiries and my queries. So that's fine. It's okay. At the end of the day, there's certifications for having studied, having you know added another skill or another experience outside the classroom and all that. That's okay.
Yeah, it's a
Also,
self-paced course. Another good news is that aside from the certificate of completion that you're going to have at the end of the course, Mr. Kess is currently and his team, they are currently working on a channel. When you complete, you can share on your LinkedIn. Recruiters can see that you've completed a course on GRC. I think they will be done soon. I don't know if you mentioned that as well. So this is another way of trying to, boost so you're not just going through this training. They are trying to see how it will equate to you getting a job. That is the purpose
Great.
of empowering people. So
Great.
I don't know if he had mentioned that as well. And they are also he's also working with other community, like the ISO community, to see how he can get the students empowered. I guess yeah, he didn't mention that yet because it's still in process of achieving that. But the progress is fast. There's another reviewer on this call. She has completed the course, right? And I think she's already working on a role in GRC role as well. Jasmine, are you on this call? If you can also share your experience, how it went for you, and how you're currently enjoying the course.
Yeah. Hello, Dr. Stella. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Mr.
madam. I
Kesson.
didn't know you were on the call.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've been on the call. Oh, I follow you around. Trust me. Yeah.
No,
So yeah. So I'm actually an agile coach, and I work in the healthcare industry. I work with Optum, and I started this year, or was it late last year? I started thinking about adding another skill set because the industry is moving pretty fast, and I didn't want to wake up one day and not have a job, and I mean, there's AI, there's IT revolutions going on, and there is one space over and over again that has, kind of jolted out to me, which is the cybersecurity space. And so when I heard that Mr. Kessington was having this, actually, I've been trying to get the personal training from him for over a year. But he said, "Oh no, he's working on something, and once it's done, I can take a shot at that." And anyway, long story short, I did the training. Fascinating. I literally went back and forth with other trainings online just to see if what the quality is like compared to others, and it was pretty much the same, and maybe even a little bit more hands-on, because you had real life scenarios to work with. So the funny thing is, a month ago, in my present job, a role opened up in that area, regulatory and compliance. And I was asked the question to review a couple of things. And with the help of that training, I was able to do a pretty good job. Do a pretty good job, deliver to leadership. And they pretty much asked me if, this was something I really wanted to do. And I said, I'm totally open to it. I just finished the training. And yes, if there's a role, I would love, to take that role. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that I get, that role alongside what I'm doing right now for the company. So that's really my testimony.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Jasmine. That was awesome. Thank you. I'm not took my own horn. You can see Ms. Jasmine just took my horn for me. I'm so appreciative. Thank you. All right. I know we have Lasana. Your hands have been up for a while. So sorry about that. Please go ahead and ask a question.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying everything everyone is saying right now. So, um, actually, I went to college too, and I did the cybersecurity just like the previous student I just asked, Emmanuel, and I graduated everything. It being like a year ago, and I went back and get something called Security Plus and all that. But for some reason, I have not been able to get this job, and I hear a lot of people talking about GRC, and actually, I did things like compliances because that's what I actually did, policies compliance in my because it was a master's program that I did. But ever since, I don't know. So I was just wondering maybe there's a piece that I'm missing because everything that I did was just about theory, and bunch of research and all that. So
Thank,
now, yeah. So I was wondering if with this program, like you mentioned, they're gonna be some hands-on, and also a resume is another problem because I have never been in this space before. So I've worked a salesperson all my time, you know. So I was just wondering if you help with this program to tailor a resume and to optimize like a LinkedIn and all of that because I'm not used to it, to be honest with you. So maybe that's one of the reason why I have not been in this field because nothing is speaking for me right now, you know.
Beautiful question. Beautiful question, Lasana. Beautiful question. So, you see, where you are is unfortunately where most people are. They are there because they put a lot of resources, which is great. You go into get a formal education. That's always a plus. It's always a plus, but it's not necessarily going to show you how to get the job done. It's going to give you that broad knowledge. I have a bachelor's degree, pursuing my master's. It's beautiful. It's great, but it doesn't really give you that applied side of a real-time job. And because of the demand, because of the length people would go to get a job. I was showing a data earlier of how employers are actually filling these positions. Even though you are seeing lots of opening positions, they're not filling them fast enough because people can't speak the language. They don't know what it's like on a daily basis at the job, right? So that is the approach we are
Okay,
bringing
I found no.
as the applied. One second, let
You
me
want to
mute.
take your phone?
So we are bringing the applied side to it. That way you can see what your responsibilities will be on a daily basis. When you come from that side, it separates you from the crowd. Like what Ms. Jasmine is sharing, it separates you completely. Again, it's like the reverse engineering I was talking about. I've hired people, I've fired people, I've interviewed, I've been in committees to set up questions for answering. All of that is what I've put together to give you something of value that will shine above a degree. Degree is good, don't get me wrong. It's good, especially when they want to place your pay. When they want to see how they will pay you. Many a times they will look, oh, do you have a degree? It doesn't matter the field that you have a degree in. It could be in social science, it could be in physical education, anything. So long as you have a degree, that balances, tells them what to pay you, but doesn't make them decide to hire you, right? So with you doing this course, you see what it's like on a daily basis. You can do the assignments, and that's assignments. These are job tasks. What you should expect to see on day one once you start working, right? And then you begin to see how the language is. If you get familiar with the terms, you know what the processes are like. And then when you have conversations during interviews or even social gatherings or even talking to your colleagues who are already working in that space, it shows that you're taking the GRC applied. It shows, and then the want to associate themselves with you. You'll be desirable, and you have a soft landing than someone who only has certifications or degrees. This one, the training is about the job training. This is not certification training. Yes, you get a certificate of completion, but it is not like your security plus, like you mentioned earlier. It's not that. It is for job completion for your training, and you will by the end of this weekend, let's just say by the middle of next week, you will have the link that you can share on social media to show to your employers and to show to those in your social media circles that you have completed something in GRC. And then, they will see you differently because now you can speak the language. Now you know what they know. You can ask questions intelligently about the GRC space. And like I showed you earlier, a lot of employers are hiring from within. So from wherever company you're working in now, once you can speak the language, I would encourage you speak to people who are in that department. And then you can start seeing them giving you opportunity to come work there. And if your company is not offering, you can always apply elsewhere. Once you apply and you have an opportunity for interviews, you can speak the language. You are confident. We help you with your resume. We help you with interview questions, where you can be familiar with the questions that you'll be getting. You can prepare ahead of time. But trust me, the biggest advantage you have is the applied side of this course. And that applied side is what really, 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 really matters above all things. When you know that, the interview is easier. They can see through the interview, you know what you're talking about, your experience, and the chances of you getting those jobs will be much more plentiful. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I would like to add to the last Mr. that just asked the question. You know how it is in this part of the world. I understand you've done certification, but listen, in this part of the world, no employer want to hire without experience. Even with your certification, they want to see your experience. So that is the capstone project that Mr. Kess was talking about in his course. So that capstone project is hands-on experience, and that is why he's talking about this course as an applied course, because it gives you that hands-on experience that you're able to use on your resume. So apart from, yes, certification is good, your degree is fine, but then again, what employers are looking for is how many years of experience do you have? What can you do? What have you done in the past? So with your transferable skills, Your degree, your certification, and your hands-on experience is what gives you the job. I'm sorry, but this is just the bitter truth. I needed to just spell it out and explain it better.
Very important. Thank you, Dr. Tina, for adding that. I see Miss Jasmine. Mrs. Jasmine, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to touch on what Dr. Was that Dr. Stella or Tina? I'm sorry.
Dr. Tina.
What she
It's
said.
Dr. Tina.
Oh, my bad. So that's exactly what I experienced about 4 or 5 years ago when I tried to get into the industry. There is always that issue of you not having the experience. You can have 10 ISACA, right? Is
Yes,
that the, you can
exactly.
have all kinds of certifications, but what they are truly looking for is that experience, that thing that shows that you've actually had hands on, because they kind of they assume that these things are theoretical. So you're doing certifications, yes, but have you actually been in the real world situation where you've had to help companies get out of all this kind of muddy messes? So I'm pretty sure that maybe that is why you're not getting called on. I can give you, I think I didn't mention this part. I gave it a shot, Dr. I mean, Mr. Kessington, I haven't given you this feedback. I actually gave it a test run
Hi, how
recently.
you doing?
I
Good.
prepared a resume and, just showing my last 2, 3 months and talking about what I've done for the company, you know, and I have been getting, inbox messages from recruiters
Wow.
on this same, requesting, but I'm too scared. I'm
That,
too
that,
scared to
that has
actually
been
give it
my,
a
my
shot.
experience, Jasmine. You
Yeah,
you
I'm
don't you,
like,
you don't even need to apply. Once you put your resume to GRC right now is the hot cake right now.
I
I did I
know.
did I did my interview, and Mr. Kess was there to just whisper. Because I didn't finish the course before. I just wanted to know how the market is. So I think
Hmm.
I put my resume together at module 3, and then I put it out there. Then recruiter reached out. I did not even apply. The fact that my resume, have the current role and
Hmm.
what's the frameworks really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they want to see, and with your experience with the capstone project, it's a big shot. Recruiters
Yeah.
will be rushing you. So that is also my experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Jasmine. Thank you, Dr. Tina. This is great. This is great. Now we can make the course even better. We can blow the trumpet even more, for others to take the opportunity. Opportunity comes but once, they say. This is the beginning of the year. It's a perfect time to start something new. And you have brilliant minds in the house who can walk you through it. So if GRC is your goal, you want to have something that's flexible, you want to have something that you can be proud of, something you can build from, something to give you that bird's eye view of where you currently work or where you want to be. Don't wait any longer. Take the opportunity now. This is the beginning of the year. It's an opportunity for you. You will not regret it. That is a promise I can give. I can give that promise and go to bed, because you will definitely learn something new, and your mentality, the way you see things, the way you see that employee relationship will be different, and you will be a star in no time. Do you have any other questions? Oh, I see Abby. Mrs. Abby, please go ahead. I know we are fast
Um,
past our time, but we can take the questions. Go ahead, please, Miss Abby.
Hi, I'm Abby from UK. My because I keep hearing capstone project, and I do understand from what you've said. It's a recording that we are going to be using to access this course, and not like it's going to be real life. And I'm just wondering how we can get that real life experience from the recording. I think it's just trying to wrap my head around it and trying to get a proper
Okay.
overview of what it's going to be like. I hope you understand my question anyway.
I understand it completely. Say hi to the baby for me. When you first came in, I had the baby crying. Say hi to the baby.
I don't have a baby here.
Really? Oh, there was someone with a baby earlier.
No, it's not me. It's not me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
It's okay.
So the way it's done, why we say applied, yes, it's recorded. So you can see me talking about the concepts, talking about the idea. And by the way, I might add, because I've done courses in the past and I can see how boring it can get, I put a style, there's a strategy we are using here where you are getting them in bits model. You're not getting one long 1 hour teaching. You are getting them 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. You are getting them. And then when you put it all together, it makes sense for each module, right? And now for each module, you now have your questions, like the questions and answers, normal knowledge checks. And then you now have an applied opportunity where you are given a real world scenario and you are asked to solve the problem. Okay? You are guided to answer. We're giving you tips on what to do, how to think. That way you are familiar with what you need to do. Now, once you've submitted your work, you can then see what the real work is or what the real solution should be. Now, there's nothing that is 100% perfect in terms of your answer, your response, right? After you've done your work, you've trained your muscle, you've thought about the problems, you've brought the solution to the surface, you can then see what we have put together to perfect what you have. So with you working and you seeing the work, it becomes better for you. That is the applied side for each module. Now, after all the modules are completed, you now have the capstone project where a task is given to you, a real job task is given to you where you get to put everything you have learned in previous modules all the way to the last module. You have a chance to put them all together. And then you will be walked through the framework, the most popular framework there is, that opens your mind, that broadens your knowledge to how frameworks work, how controls work. It opens your mind like never before. And then you can see us walking through it. And we expect you to walk through it in your capstone project. At the end, again, we will guide you through the proper way. So should you get it wrong, you can see how it should be done. So that is the applied nature that we're talking about. You get to do the work. You get to think through it. And it shows. Once you get to think through it, you begin to understand it better. And then we guide you to where you need to be to make it correct. So that's the job experience you're talking about. That is the experience you want to bring to the table. When you are speaking about it, you're not just speaking from theory, you are speaking from a practical standpoint. The applied nature will do that for you. I hope that helps.
Yeah, just to add to that question. So you said we walk through it, and I guess there's a submission part, and is that all within the module itself that you've already the proper way to go about that particular task will be given to us, or we are going to have like an interaction with someone that will be guiding us through this course?
Okay, this is how it works. Within that very module, you will submit your work. Within that same module, we have multiple modules. Within each module, you will now get the proper answer or another perspective of what the answer should be. Because your answer could be 90%, could be even be 100%. Or you will also get the proper answer from what a real life, like all of this is my experience in the real world from corporate America. I'm bringing it and you are seeing what the answer should be. So then you can merge the two answers in your head. And it's something that it's not what you want to cram, right? It's what you want to know. You want to bury yourself in it. You want to make it digest within your system. So with your answer, with the answer that I will be providing, you can find yourself all the way there. Okay? And then the capstone project, again, like I mentioned, gives you the opportunity to put everything together where you get to see how they all work. And then if you have a question, again, remember I mentioned earlier, you belong to a cohort. that cohort would be there as a resource to guide you. Your cohort to be your colleagues, those who you studied together. They can always guide you if you have questions. You can even give yourself a task and say, okay, let's do module 1 and module 2 this week. Who is with me? You know, there will be an energy that will be generated amongst the cohorts, the cohorters, and then you can study together like that. And in addition to that, you also have me as a resource. So if you get confused, if you don't know what to do, you need to speak to someone, I will be there. There is something for you to do for each module. You can send me a message. I would see it. We can always book a time where I come online or what have you, or I can talk to you over the phone. I clear your doubts, and then you keep moving on. If that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
So it's just we are giving you that multiple steps so you don't fail. We are here to make sure everybody succeeds. So whatever it is that will make you succeed, we are here for you. We're giving you all the resources recorded, but we are there at the back end to also support you as much as you need. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, 13 minutes past the time. Just a reminder, we're going to be sending out probably later on tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. We'll get the recorded version of this webinar. That way, if you want to go back to the recording, you are free to do so, and you won't miss anything. For those who came much later, you can always see how we started. There is no more question. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining. I look forward to seeing you.
I dropped a question in the chat box.
Oh, someone passed to the chat box. I'm sorry. 1 second. Please put together comments on the questions and answers for us. Yes, most definitely, I will. I will do that. And just so you know, I mentioned it earlier, within the course itself, you're going to have that option within the course itself. That's how we have able to you. And for those who are also have a WhatsApp group, we'll probably for you, letting you know what's happening in the real world, letting you know how you can leverage what you have to make you better and succeed in the GRC space. And then for those who will be in the cohort, by the course, communication will be intense there as well. You hold yourselves accountable to each other. Because the only thing that will make you succeed is if you're not doing work. You're not serious-minded. If you're serious-minded and you want to get a job in the GRC, then encourage you to do it. This is the advantage of reverse engineering that we're talking about. This is what we've seen results. How we are pressing it to increase our community so we can have more professionals, being across the US and Canada and elsewhere, right? I think that's all the questions. If there's no more question, wish each and every one of us a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend. Thank you all for joining. I look forward to seeing you in the course in our chats and WhatsApp. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me directly. I'm also here for you. Everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.